So what are we going to talk about today?
One of the biggest topics I think that's being missed, and that is the invasion of the West.
Yeah, we need to pay attention to this. Do you have any questions?
Well, you uh, um, you know a lot about this type of thing, and again, we're pretty ignorant about a lot of this type of stuff, what's happening, and how it happens, and sort of what the end goal is. So maybe you can help us try to understand that, because I see obviously a lot of movement, a lot of immigration, illegal immigration, and also sort of invasion. But what are they doing? You know, where does this go, and how far are we? How do we prevent it if it's something that's as deadly as people believe it is? I don't know. Maybe we can try and expand it, try and open up and see.
Okay, so I'd like to divide my answer to two. Okay, first half, I think I will explain what this ideology, deadly ideology, has to offer. What is it all about? Because people need to understand what this cult is about, and it is a cult. And then we'll understand. We'll basically discuss the steps, how you know what stage is your country at. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's going to be helpful. I think it's the right way to address this. So first you understand it, and then understand just how severe the threat is. How far down the line are we? That's awesome. So let's get into them.
Okay, so this is a cult. It's not a religion. People used to think that they see a man and women go down the street. The man walks in the front, the women behind, all covered. They think that it's a religion. It's not. It's a cult. How do you know? Very easy. There are many, many characteristics of a cult. But the main thing, to make a long story short, a cult is if you leave a certain group, a certain belief, and you have a leader, you cannot say anything against the leader. You have to bring more people to the cult. You cannot be friends. It's very important what I'm saying now. You cannot be friends with the others who are outside of the cult. And if you leave that group, there is a death sentence over you. They have to kill you. So this is how you recognize that this is a cult. What it has to offer. Let's see. First of all, women. Violence towards women. Did you hear what about FGM? Do you know what FGM is?
No, not really on.
Mm-hmm. FGM is their initials of female genital mutilation. They cut the clitoris of a woman. Sorry to say, I know it sounds horrible, and it is horrible. No anesthetic, in order for the woman not to feel pleasure. Okay, so woman doesn't feel a thing. This is FGM, very important. This is real. This is violence, violence towards women. Also, they beat a woman. They do whatever they can. If a guy doesn't, he thinks that a woman is betraying him. He has even a suspicion. Okay, so first time he doesn't talk to her. Second time he sleeps somewhere else. Third time, that's the beating of the wife. Oh, and now I'm going to basically say it out loud. Okay, Islam. We're talking about Islam. In Islam, a woman is considered to be half of a man. She doesn't have the same rights, doesn't have the same um, privileges like a man. She's considered half of a man. So when there is a trial, there should be two women. There are two women testimonies versus of one man testimony. A man can have four wives. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. We're going to talk about other cuckoo mumbo jumbo that they're doing. So the first one's because I am a woman and it really hurts me when the women are hurt. So the FGM one let's talk about raping. You saw what happened on October 7th. You saw what's been happening in the UK for 15 years. They rape girls now. They don't just rape any girls. They rape girls who are not Muslims. They were told, it's in their Quran, in their Hadith, that when you catch a woman, they say it's a time of war, but in a way we are in a time of war. They catch a woman with their right hand, the woman is theirs. They can do whatever they want. So if a woman is an infidel, she's not a Muslim, she's not a believer, she's a kufar, okay? It's allowed to rape her. What else does this cult have to offer to the world? Beheading. It has to, that's also paganism. The fact that they actually go around this stone, the Hajj, this is paganism. They circle it 7 times because they believe that one day it'll open its mouth, he will tell who is a good Muslim and who is not. Polygamy. Polygamy, they said 4 wives, they can have more. Now, remember that we had a discussion before, and you said you didn't know if it was called muta or halala. Remember this?
That's correct, Tom.
Do you know the difference now?
Well, I'm not entirely certain that I understand it, but is it not like muta is like a legalized prostitution, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not 100% certain what halala is on, but I think muta is prostitution. They marry them and they can just basically get married like temporarily in order to basically, do whatever they do and then get divorced afterwards. I'm not sure.
Yes, that's true. This is called a muta. It's basically legalizing prostitution. Halala is when a guy divorces a woman, again in Islam. If we spoke about the women, about their position, a woman cannot even say, I want a divorce. She has no saying whatsoever. She's just a tool. She's a baby making machine. So a guy only tells her the word tale, 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 like divorce, divorce, divorce in Arabic. That's it. That's it. They're divorced. And when, let's say the woman, okay, now when they get divorced, okay, the poor woman, she's not entitled to have anything. Basically food, water, roof above her head. So most likely she would want to go back to the husband because, she doesn't work. She doesn't have the means to support herself. So let's say she wants to go back to the husband. She has to do what's called halala. Now we see this in the UK. It's been going there for years. There is a whole business. The Muslims actually making a lot of money over those poor women. Because halala, that woman has to have another marriage, to marry another guy, do you know what with that guy, okay, to make it formal, even tape it, because I saw a video, even tape it, and then the guy, he has an option. He can actually divorce her, and then she needs to wait a few months until she goes back to her ex-husband, or she's stuck, like happens in the UK many times. The guy that she married in order to get divorced from and go back to her husband say, no, I want to keep you. So this is halala. Horrible.
It's
What
really
else?
shocking.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
People need to know who these people are. Pedophilia. Muhammad, he married this Aisha when she was 6. He slept with her when she was 9 because the Muslims believe that as soon as a woman has her period, she's all grown up. But we know that in Yemen, months ago, an 8-year-old girl died on her wedding day because of bleeding. The body is still not, how do you say this? It's not capable of being with this guy is what he's usually their 50s, 60s, and the parents just sell them for money. This is Islam. By the way, Islam means submission, if I didn't say so. Jihad, okay, this is their holy war. We said oppression of women. We said honor killing. We see it every day in Israel. Every day we get up, there is somebody else in the Bedouin, which are Muslim Bedouin society, honor killing. They suspect that a girl looked at somebody, or she kissed a guy that it was not arranged for her. So the mother and the children and the husband were all in it to murder the daughter. That's what they do. It's almost every day you see it here in Israel. Every day you get up in the morning, and they call it the Arab society. In a way, it's a Muslim society. So this is honor killing. Slavery, we know that. Slavery. Muhammad was basically master of that. Hostage taking, we saw October 7th. Violence towards dogs. Do you know why they hate dogs?
No idea.
Why Muslims hate dogs?
Absolutely no idea. But I know that they do this. They don't even allow people. I've seen in Australia, I think in Canada, I've seen on the news recently where basically people have been walking their dogs, and they're no longer allowed to walk into certain areas with their dogs because apparently it upsets the local people there. Again, Muslim people, Muslim communities, and they basically protest to the police, and the people come and the police arrive there and arrest the people walking their dogs because they're not allowed near these areas. But I have no idea what's behind that, you know?
Okay, yeah, there are no-go zones. And in the UK, I don't know if other places in the world, but this is the way it starts. You have to respect their feelings, but they don't respect others' feelings. So Muhammad, okay, he needed to meet with Angel Gabriel. And he waited and he waited and he waited. And Angel Gabriel didn't show up. And after hours, he came back to his house. And then he saw a little dog, a puppy, under the bed. And he said, because of that dog, the angel didn't come to see me. So they believe that the devil sleeps, lives, if you want to call it, in the dog's nostrils. So they hate dogs. They actually slaughter dogs. They kill them. They killed a few in Turkey, also in Morocco, especially black dogs. Now, if you think about it, try to follow my lead. A dog is a man's best friend, right? It knows exactly who is a good person, who is a bad person. So if a dog was to protect a certain girl from being done something to her in Islam, so the guy doesn't want the dog to do so. Because according to the way I see it, sorry, Islam is a man's world. They are in control. It's their world. I love dogs. I don't think that the devil lives in their nostrils. By the way, the Muslims, every morning they get up, they wash their nostrils, their own nostrils, because they believe that at night the devil sleeps there. So we did FGM, burning people alive. We saw that also on October 7th. That was Islam. And necrophilia. Muhammad slept with his dead aunt. And therefore in Egypt, a few months ago, they passed a bill, that it's okay to sleep with your dead wife.
Do they want to bring this to the West?
Yeah, of course. So tell me something. Do you know why? What's common here to all people here in the room? We have people from Australia, from okay, where are you from? We have the States, India, Canada, also me, Israel. What do we all have in common?
Well, these people are flooding into everywhere at the moment, and they don't assimilate from what I can see. So they have, like you said, these no-go zones, and they're demanding of everybody else to change, and they're just expanding. And if you don't go with this, then you're wrong. I don't understand why it's going this way, or why the governments are allowing it to go this way. But
Justin, you didn't answer my question. What do we all have in common in this room right now?
We recognize Islam for what it actually is.
True. Something else. There's another thing that's very important. We're all infidels. We're all infidels. We're all kuffar. We're non-believers. Therefore, they have to kill us. They cannot take us as their friends. They cannot. They mustn't. We are infidels. And if you look at I'm looking for the verses and the Quran to read to you. The Quran is more than 90% about violence towards infidels. They cannot take us as friends. They have to behead us. They have to kill us. They have to use fire. They have to maim us. So what happened on October 7th in the South, and the terrorists were stopped in my city, was Islam. You have to understand that. That was Islam. And if anybody in the world thinks that it's not going to happen in his own country, he needs to think again.
well, maybe if I can just jump in, I think it is already happening because, like you mentioned, I'll go back to you mentioned about all the sexual stuff that they have in that cult, and if you look at like you mentioned, the rape numbers in the UK, and you look at what's happening in places like Sweden with the rape numbers there of the young people, of the young girls. And then I was seeing something on TV recently where they had one of the pilgrimages to Mecca, and they had the people walking around. You know, they do this whole walking around the big stone, the Kaaba, I think, and they were interviewing people, and they were saying, like all the women and the men and whoever that were there, they were like being groped and raped, and it was just like one big giant like sexual party basically. And that to me is like insane, because I don't understand how people can live among people like that, or how they can come to the West and say that everybody needs to become like this. This is not something that I think anyone would just openly sort of subscribe to. And then again, like you're saying, now comes the next thing. We won't go with it. So then we are, was it infidels? And then they want us dead. So I don't know. It's actually pretty scary if you think about it.
Yeah, three things that I need to mention about the violence, not just towards girls and women, also against boys. You have to understand. They have a custom that when the boys are little, they're young, they dress the boys as women and they make them dance to them. You have to understand that it's not just girls, also boys. Goats, very important. It was a few weeks ago. I don't know if you all watched it in France in a therapeutical farm for children. So an Afghan immigrant, pretty young, I think it was less than 20, something like this. He raped a goat. It's not new. And the poor goat was pregnant. So the next day she was afraid to go to next to the children. The people who treat the children, who help them, actually spoke to the camera, and she couldn't how do you say, she couldn't breastfeed or give milk to the two baby goats that she had because I think she was traumatized.
Oh my God, the story is traumatizing just hearing about it.
But it is the truth. You have to understand what you're facing. Now you asked a very important question. You asked me, how come we don't know about the truth? Very easy. The West people, also Israelis here, they want to think that everybody's good. And you have to understand that they use what we call here, I spoke a lot of times about this terminology, they use takia. Surely you've heard about this word takia.
Well, it's going around on X a lot at the moment, and I've seen maybe some programs on YouTube, some very good speakers, and they mention takia. It's like lying. maybe lying to enhance or to move forward the belief of that cult.
Takia is,
So
Takia is deception. They're told to lie. They lie three conditions. A husband can lie to his wife. You can lie to your opponent during a debate. And the third one actually is it's true to these days, to our times. Because as I said before, this is a religious war. This is time of war. So you're allowed to lie to your opponent during a war. You're allowed to lie. And this is what we see now, even with the Iranians. This is what we see in the UK. We see in New York with Mamdani. We see it everywhere. This is what they do. They lie, they use deceit to get what they want.
well, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Any questions before I read the verses, a few verses?
Not really on, but I'm just saying it makes a lot of sense now the way you explain it. Because they say the first casualty of war is the truth. So it obviously is truly a war. And there's definitely hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have flocked into Europe and to America. And just it looks to me that they're trying to change the society. So I've seen a lot on the internet and on YouTube, all these people lining up in the streets and praying, and they can't move them. Like, you can't get them out of the way. And if you try to, then you're being Islamophobe. So I don't know. It's quite scary.
Okay, now they pray outside in open territory, okay? They don't do that in their Muslim countries. They don't. They only do it in the West because they're marking their territory. It's their way of saying, hey, we are here. This is our land. So every city, every country that has a mosque, you have to understand that. If you understand what we just spoke about today, would be wonderful if you went to your councillors, to your mayors, you demand taking down mosques, because a mosque is not just a regular place to pray and worship God or their whatever Satan God is. A mosque is a place to go to hear about how to do nasty things to the people who live there. A mosque is also a place in Islam that marks the soil as belonging to Islam. So let's say in New York, they have mosques already. In California, 500 mosques. Texas, 300 mosques. Florida, more than 100 mosques. The more they have, you have to be really worried. You know what makes me laugh? That the Texan always say, oh, but we ban Sharia law, so everything's fine. No, it's not. Because Sharia law, it's not the problem. Sharia law is just a side effect. The problem is the Quran. The problem is this ideology itself. You have to ban it. You have to make it illegal. You have to make it not a religion, because it is not a religion. It's not a religion. Basically, it's very easy to do it. All you have to do is to go at the book, and I'm going to read you verses from the book. Okay. First thing you have to understand, if somebody comes to you and says and he's a Muslim or she's a Muslim, and they tell you, oh, we're good people, we only want peace, do not fall for it. Do not fall for it. This is taqiyya. You have to understand this is taqiyya. So remember, if anything, chapter 2, 191, 191, when they say slay them wherever you find them. And them is everybody here in this room. Everybody who is not a believer in Islam, he has to die, or in those days, pay the jizya. My guess, in the UK, they're not going to ask them to pay the jizya. It's either convert or die. So 191. In the Quran, chapter 5, verse 33, maim and crucify the infidels if they criticize Islam. 865, unbelievers are stupid. Muslims are urged to fight them. Again, we are unbelievers. We are kuffar. We are infidels. So they have to fight us, because this is a time of war. You have to understand it's war. It's a religious war. Quran 9, 123, make war on the infidels living in your neighborhood. This is also part of a war, the no-go zones with the dog. It's a war. Quran 328, Muslims must not take the infidels as friends. My mother is from Turkey, from Istanbul. When I asked her, Mom, did you have friends at school? She said, no. She said, during the breaks, it's my mother and her aunt and a Jewish friend. She said, we didn't know why people didn't talk to us at school. They were alone. And I said to her, Mom, because you're Jewish. If you look at it now at the schools in America, tell me if I'm wrong, Poppy. They're trying to to ban, all kinds of certain food that the kids are eating in the American schools. Am I right?
Yes, I'm afraid you are right. There are movements in America for towards things like that. Um, I don't think in the part of America where I live, we're as deeply infected as many other parts of America are, but they have staked a claim even here. And you cannot defeat an enemy that you will not acknowledge. And in the West, including in America, our government leaders will not admit to themselves that we are in a war. It's one sided. It's totally coming from Islam towards the infidels, as you stated previously. We're all infidels because we're not believers in Islam. We don't follow Muhammad. We're not Muslims. And therefore, they are at war with us. Meanwhile, we're pretending that we don't notice all their evil actions. By someone's actions, you know exactly who that person is, not their words, not their lying words, their lying mouths. You watch what they do, and it's all violence and evil, and women are nothing. Little girls are considered nothing. These men marry and rape baby girls. They put burqas on baby girls. The reason for the burqa is so that a man doesn't become sexually excited when viewing that person. That's why they cover them from head to toe. If you have to do that to a baby, that tells me that you're sexually stimulated by little babies. Everything about it is evil through and through. All you have to do is look at the countries where they live. They've made no contributions to science, to industry, to medicine, to the world. I mean, they're capable of becoming doctors and engineers, maybe, but unlike the Jewish people, they don't have those contributions to the world. And the places where they live are filthy and dirty and covered in garbage. Even the parts of Europe that they've taken over and America, there's filth and garbage where they are that they live in. They live in it. And they practice these things. And our government leadership has to see this. They're pretending to themselves and pretending to us that this is good, and that if we disagree with them about that, we're Islamophobic. I don't care if you call me Islamophobic. I'm afraid of Islam based on their actions. Beheading people, burning people alive, raping women, beating children. It's their actions that make me afraid of them and make me not like them. So I feel justified in that thought process.
Thank you, Poppy. Justin?
Well, like what Poppy's saying, it makes me wonder, coming back to the Takir, that you see them going around in Europe and in America and basically preaching, approaching sort of youngish people and saying to them, convert. And it's wonderful, and you'll have like a sort of brotherly community and this type of thing. And what's striking to me about that is this not potentially the offer up front to convert? Because you read it, Tom. You said that basically that they need to slay them wherever they find them, and they're not allowed to take friends with infidels. So would they basically be offering people? Is this the opportunity? Is this in their eyes that they're offering Islam to the people and the communities around them now? and those that refuse, then what happens tomorrow? Then does the other verse begin where they have to behead us and kill us because they've already offered us the opportunity and we've said no? So is this what's already happening in Europe?
We will talk about it in a second. A few things about what Poppy said I would like to relate about the leaders. The leaders basically, they are misleading the people. We saw Geert Wilders, we saw other leaders, they all say radical Islam. This is radical Islam. So to the regular person who doesn't listen to the news, who's not aware of what Islam is, he thinks, or she thinks, if this is radical Islam, so the other ones are good Muslims. So he thinks that they're good Muslims. And the answer, of course, they're no good Muslims. Think about it. October 7th, did you hear any Muslim condemning October 7th? All the Christmas markets in Europe, did you hear any Muslim condemning all those terror attacks? Of course not. And what even further, all these terror attacks on the Christmas market, they were against people who are infidels, never against Muslims. So this is the first one. Mary, if you marry, did you watch the movie that I recommended, Not Without My Daughter? The story of Betty Mahmoudi? Poppy, did you watch it?
Yes, I did. And I don't understand why any woman who lives in freedom, who has freedom in her society, who isn't under the subjugation and cruelty of a man who is her master, like the master of a dog, who's her master and lord and gets to decide how she's treated, if she eats or doesn't eat, that she cannot leave the home without him escorting her, and that she's allowed no input whatsoever on the raising of their children. Why would any woman who lives in freedom in the West or another free nation decide to blindly believe what she's being told about that? And where's her family? Where are her parents in that decision? Are they not guiding their daughters? Investigate this. Let's look into it before you make a hasty mistake, a very hasty and life-changing, forever life-altering mistake. That woman was an American, played by Sally Field, and she married a Muslim man who was a physician, and she had a daughter with him. She had a child with him. It was her instinct not to go back to the Middle East to live. I think it was Iran, but I'm not sure. I think it was Iran.
It was
He wanted,
Iran.
I'm sorry, what?
It was Iran. You're
Yeah,
right.
it was Iran. He wanted to go, he said, I want to go visit my family. And her instinct was to not go, but he talked her into it and kind of twisted her arm. And she went, and they took their daughter. And while he was there, he changed almost immediately into a cruel, angry, controlling Muslim man. And his whole family um, didn't really want to acknowledge her or accept her. She didn't find any compassion amongst his family, and she wanted to leave there. Her husband said no, and she didn't want to leave without her daughter. That's why the title is Not Without My Daughter. Everyone should watch it. It's a really good movie.
It's a good movie. I watched it several times. Why do I recommend it? Because everything there, every scenario there, every little thing is about Islam. You will see how the husband, first of all, that she married into Islam. When you marry into Islam, you cannot keep your faith. No way in hell a Muslim who marries a Jewish person, the Jewish can keep his faith. It doesn't work this way. You have to be a Muslim. And she didn't know that. So when they came to Iran, all of a sudden she had to wear this hijab and everything and be like a slave. And he lied to her. I don't know if you remember, Poppy, that he said to her, we're going to go back. And he basically swore on the Quran. And that was a taqiyya. That was a taqiyya. Even if they swear on the Quran, remember, a husband can lie to his wife. He lies to his wife. So it was a very good movie. You have to watch it.
Excellent movie. If anyone hasn't seen it, they should watch it. Not Without My Daughter. And so what you just said about swearing on the Quran, there's an image in my mind of the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, and he swore into office on a Quran. And he did it first from an underground tunnel, from a subway tunnel that is no longer used, no longer in use. It's kind of a historic subway tunnel. And he did that underground. And that makes me think of, it brings to mind all the tunnels that they build, terror tunnels everywhere, not just in Gaza, but in Iran as well, in Lebanon, everywhere. Wherever the IDF is going, they're finding terror tunnels. And that's what Mamdani did. And he swore on a Quran, and it was taqiyya.
Yep, you cannot trust them. Now let's talk about the halal. What can you tell me? What do you know about the halal?
It's like they consider it good to eat. That they slaughter the animals in the most cruel fashion imaginable. They slowly slit the throat of the animal and allow the poor animal to slowly and painfully and in excruciating agony to die and bleed out. And then they want to eat the meat of that animal. It's disgusting. I can't think of it. I can only imagine all the hormones and fear generated in that animal and the hormones that are released into the meat, into that animal's body. It's sickening.
It is. It is. So I'm referring also to this one, the halal, but I'm talking about something even more dangerous. Halal is now not just meat. It's everything. It's a whole industry, a whole economy. And it's everywhere around you where you live. If you look at the supermarket, on the shelves, everything is halal, cosmetics, jewelry, clothes, halal. And what you don't know is when you buy halal, you basically contribute to terrorism. That money, 10%, goes to terrorism. So you need not to buy it. Stop funding terrorism. They won't tell you this, but they have to give zakat, like we call in Hebrew tzedakah. They give zakat to terrorism, to the Muslim Brotherhoods, because it's a whole self-mechanism that the society of Islam has to thrive. How does it thrive? It has economy. And who is going to support it? You guys. So try to look for it. It says halal, I think, in green and white on it. Do not buy it.
Yes, I believe most of the symbols that indicate that something is halal are green. That they'll be green, and you can look for that. Frequently, it'll be like a green and white triangle, but there are other shapes as well. Don't support it. You're supporting terrorism by buying it.
Justin, you asked me something before. How do you know what's the situation of the society?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, when I talk about it, think about your own country. Okay, think how bad is your country. They target an open democratic society. This is what they did to Europe, also the States. Open democratic, because there is connection between the Democrats, the lefties, and Islam. There is a connection. Then they begin mass immigration from Islamic countries. And most of them, if you notice, they come with no women. Why? Because they take the women from that place. And then they start random terror attacks. Then they create Muslim enclaves in the largest towns. If you think about it, London, Paris, Berlin, New York, first is the Muslim town, the big city has to go down for Islam. Then they demand special privileges. Number 6, infiltrate councils and target seats in government. Now this is where you should be worried. This is why you should be very, very afraid, because once they get into key position, you know that the country is down. It is down. Why? Because they breed like rats. And if they breed like rats, Europeans mainly have, maybe they have one child. Maybe. Okay, we have more children per family in Israel. For us, children is blessing. It's happiness, it's joy. So they have 4 children per person per year. Think about it, per year. So those people, the children, are going to be the next voters. So they have more voters. When they get to key position, they want to do what they want to do. They're not going to help you. So when they infiltrate the police, the army, the government, you know that it is gone. In UK, this is what I'm saying, UK is gone. Then they assert dominance with tactics like open street prayer. So what country here has open street prayer?
Well, we've seen it in Europe and in the States, all over the place.
Next, they create a party of Islam in the democracy. And next, they have the Islamophobia laws. And then the Islamic terror attacks increase. And then, just before the final stage, they provoke a civil war in the host nation in order to establish Sharia law. And you don't want to get there. Justin, did I answer your questions, all your questions?
You did, and it's actually it's quite shocking, because if you ask again, according to that, like, where are you? If I look around at the world at the moment, I look at America, I look at Europe, even look at where I am. In most cases, we're almost at the point of the next step is basically provoking civil war. So if I understand it, like you put it, you said it's like a clock. So that means in most cases, especially where I am, we're really like just before midnight, basically, which is, this is shocking. You know, I think that, are people actually going to wake up seconds to midnight, or they're going to wake up after midnight is basically arrived? And you mentioned about the beheading earlier on. We saw what happened in Belfast recently. So that's what I'm saying. It's very shocking. When you described all these things, it actually is very, very chilling to see that it's you like checking the boxes. Do you see this? Yes. You're seeing the next step? Yes. And it's like, really, we just before midnight in most cases, which is, yeah, wow. It's very, very scary.
Do you know what? Even let's say it doesn't say halal and you don't see it, look where it was manufactured. If it was in Egypt, Morocco, Dubai, you don't want to do that. You don't want to buy these things. Not to mention that if you buy bread or shawarma from their place, they actually spit in the dough.
I have a question, but it's sort of related, but not related. It's so you have a channel. You discuss these type of thing on your channel,
Yep, I do. Because it is connected to the Middle East. The channel is called Middle East Unfiltered.
All right, we'll definitely check that out. Thank you.
Question is, what are you going to do with that information now that you know what Islam is, how dangerous it is, what are its beliefs, that it cannot be coexisting with the Western values? Cannot. And I cannot stress this enough. What are you going to do? Try to think about it. I deliberately did this recorded speech because I want people to know, people need to understand this. No good Muslim. A good Muslim is either a dead one or a next one. That's it.